people. It's your girl Janelle with Cope with Janelle. Let's climb over problems every day. And today is my first episode of the podcast. Whoop, whoop. I am super excited. For those of you who know me, you know that I have been a therapist now, a licensed professional counselor for 4 years, but a counselor in general for going on 23 years. I know I don't look that old. Drink that water and use that Johnson and Johnson. Keeps the skin supple, okay? But I'm just saying, I've been doing this for quite a while. I started as a school counselor. Well, really before that, I started as a community counselor for a girls' home. And then I went to school, got my master's degree. For counseling and development, went into school counseling, but I also got certified for community counseling. So I did both of those things concurrently and then eventually branched off into private practice. And one of the things that led me to start a podcast was simply just the desire to reach more people and be able to enrich the lives of others, as my life has been enriched by all of the people who come in and sit on my couch, right? I am a firm believer everybody needs their own couch. But until you get your own couch, at least you can have a podcast, right? Okay. So, climb over problems every day. That's what COPE stands for. And this podcast will serve as a platform for you to be able to tell me what some of the issues are that you might be dealing with, or some overarching themes that you're like, man, I just wish I had some insight on how to kind of navigate through this. This will be one of those ways in which you can get some information. Comment in the sections below and put some questions out there that will be answered in future podcast episodes. So please feel free to write as much as you would like in the comments, so that we can address some issues that may need some looking into, okay? But for today, just wanting to let you all know the premise of this podcast and when it will meet. It will meet every Wednesday at 12:11 p.m. Why 12:11, Janelle? I don't know. I just picked 12:11. No, there really is some significance. Numbers do mean a thing to me, but we'll get into numbers in another episode. But 12:11, today is 12:11. And so I thought it would be fitting for me to air also at 12:11 p.m. So hopefully everyone is on lunch. And if you were late to lunch, at least at 12:11, you should probably be already sitting in your car about to be in somebody's drive-through or eating in somebody's break room if you packed your lunch. Amen? Okay, so that's wonderful. It's going to be 15 minutes each segment. Unless y'all are just writing and say, hey, Janelle, I want you to meet for longer. And if that is the case, as the podcast grows, so shall the time, okay? But for today, I wanted to talk about some issues that may be familiar or down your lane while we are in the season that we are in. In the fall and in the winter months, I see something rise within the counseling community known as SAD. And it's not just the affect, but it stands for seasonal affective disorder. And what that basically means, like in a nutshell, is that the environment, the climate, the weather, the sun going down earlier, the darkness staying around seemingly longer, the weather getting colder and more frigid, and the need to feel like you have to stay inside more. These things kind of add to an affect, an emotion, feelings that we kind of harbor, alongside with it being the holiday season, right? And I don't know about y'all, but I always feel like there's a sweeping or something happens towards the end of the year where there's like a cleaning out, a sweeping of the lives of people. That's what it seems like. Death rates seem to go up at the end of the year. And so it makes it that much harder when Thanksgiving comes around and Uncle so and so is not there, or Aunt so and so, or Grandma, Mima, Pop Pop, or my sister, my brother, something like someone, or even a friend, someone of significance in your life that used to be there but is not there. Holidays become really hard. They're great and they're bad all at the same time, right? Um, and for those who are going through grief right now as well, um, just the grieving process in and of itself, with grief, life goes on for the people around you. But for the person who is actually suffering from the grief, it seems as though there are times where we're at a standstill and life has not gone on. Matter of fact, it feels very much like the day it all happened or the day after. So there are a lot of different components that feed into this concept or diagnosis, rather, of SAD, of seasonal affective disorder. And I don't want us to miss the signs and signals because it could potentially look like, oh, you just, feeling blue or, oh, you're just tired. I don't want us to miss that. So let's take a minute to look through some things, okay? Okay, so first things first, we have to really understand what SAD is. And that is um, really a mood disorder characterized by some depressive symptoms that happen at a specific time in the year. People may refer to it as like the winter blues, or, they just think that it's just because there's nothing to do outside. But what ends up happening is that there are some specific triggers that actually alter the mood and change your personal's individual experience. And it may look like depression, but it's not necessarily characterized solely as that. When we are feeling some of these symptoms, it can become overwhelming or distressing in our lives, and really can affect how not only we feel as people, but how we handle life stressors and other people that are interacting in our lives from day to day. Some symptoms and some signs I want you to look for within yourself or even within others, like your children, your family members, coworkers. I'm not asking y'all to go out there diagnosing people. Please do not do that. I I did not say that. But I do want you to be aware of what to kind of look for, particularly during the winter months, okay? People with seasonal affective disorder or with SAD generally have symptoms like anxiety, irritability, fatigue, and not just regular fatigue. I mean, like they are more tired than normal. They may crave a lot of carbs or sugar. They may feel like, I think I said irritable. They may feel some restlessness, but they also may have some feelings like of a loss of hope or um, just like no real passion for the future. They may have difficulties with concentrating beyond your regular ADHD symptoms. I know I have the ADHD, it's a superpower. We'll talk about that later too. But you also may see a change in appetite, either an increase or an extreme decrease, okay? Um, Irregular sleeping patterns, maybe some insomnia, or sleeping way longer. But you'll also see some decline in participating in activities that you normally would, or that are not wanting to engage with people socially like you may have wanted to before. These are some symptoms that are they mirror depression, but they only happen during these particular months, okay? And there are lots of different therapists and different theorists and researchers that kind of indicate that these factors um, might contribute to its cause, particularly. So during the winter months, the exposure to sunlight is increasing, well, it decreases a lot. So it's much lower than in the summer months, of course. And due to the lack of light exposure, a person can kind of throw off their biological clock, so to speak, or their rhythm. their circadian rhythm. They can also have like a shift in their internal clock that kind of regulates their sleep or even their mood. But I know, especially as it pertains to sunlight with vitamin D, you will see that those, particularly Black females, are more of a target. They will have a decrease in their vitamin D levels, which is also connected to the regulation of their serotonin that their body produces, or that happy gene, that happy hormone, which keeps all attitudes light and fluffy. But it don't be light and fluffy when the vitamin D is down. I'm just saying, go ahead on to Walgreens and get you some vitamin D. But sunlight, it contributes to the production of that vitamin D, and the body needs to continuously have that in order to maintain that positive affect in the mood. But the hormone that makes us fall asleep is actually called melatonin. And I know some of us might be aware of melatonin just from the gummies that they see on the shelf at the store. But the body is actually supposed to create melatonin. Well, the secretion of melatonin increases after the onset of darkness. And because we are in the darkness for longer periods of time, seemingly with the lack of sunlight in the winter months or the late fall months, it contributes to the overproduction of melatonin in the body, which makes people feel increasingly sleepy. I know you did not think you was about to get this whole science lesson on today. Your girl's head is more than a hat rack. That's what my mama said. My head is more than a hat rack. And she got a little knowledge in here. Boop, boop. But I wanted to make y'all aware. People who experience SAD, they're commonly diagnosed with something else too. Like there's another diagnosis usually in there, some other type of mood disorder or an anxiety disorder, some that may have also panic attacks, and hereditary issues. Genetics does play a part in all of that as well. So if you know of your family members that came before you that also have suffered from depression or other types of mood or personality disorders, that could also have a contributing factor to SAD. So here's some, I don't want to just give you all of that and be like, all right, well, go out there and have good luck. No, I want to make sure that you have some things that you could do. I talked about light. You got to find the spots of light wherever you can. So even on the days that there is sun, it's raining out here, like I said, but even on the days that there is sun, make sure that you go out and expose yourself to as much natural light as you possibly can. Being in your house under your fluorescent light does not count, okay? So make sure you do that for as long as you possibly can. Eat well and avoid the carbs. I know holiday seasons they don't help with the carbs because we bake cakes, and I'm also a baker, butlerbakeryonline.com. That's butlerbakeryonline.com. I'm not trying to put in the shameless plug for my other business. Don't listen to me with that one. But in any case, eat well and try to avoid the carbs. The carb-rich foods like starch, bread, donuts, cookies, cakes, pastries, all those things, they actually exacerbate symptoms of SAD. I know I hated to say it because I want a piece of cake myself, but they work against our body. And if our diet is poor, our vitamin D production is going to be insufficient as well, which vitamin D does not just come from milk. I don't know who started that rumor just because cows create milk, but what do cows eat? They eat green leaves. They don't drink milk. I'm just saying. But you want to make sure that you are eating well and taking some good supplements like that vitamin D that I was telling you about. That could help you to avoid some symptoms of depression, or at least manage the depression that you may already be feeling. Make some time to be active, because being sedentary or lethargic, that kind of settles in at some point in time during SAD. You want to, because your body is tired, that overproduction of the melatonin, you want to make sure that you are at least trying to incorporate some type of exercise or some type of movement that will boost your energy. Physical activity does boost energy and it helps to improve mood. So please, ma'am, please, sir, try to do that. And one other thing I would like to say is make sure you get around some people. There's nothing wrong with getting around people. If you find yourself needing some support, reach out to those who you can trust with your heart and who have the capacity to support, okay? But if you're like, man, I can't wait to the next episode, I need to come back and find Janelle real quick, have no fear, because on Wednesday next week at 12:11, your girl will be back. So make sure you tune in. Until then, be blessed, my friends. Check out the group that I will be running, which is Coping Through Grief. You can hop on my website at copewithjanelle.com and check it out. I'll have a link so that you can do it virtually if you're not able to be in person, but you don't have to go through this season alone, okay? So make sure you guys come back next time, and don't forget to subscribe with Cope with Janelle. That's Climb Over Problems every day. Bye.